Greetings cinephiles! Welcome to the FILMSTRIP channel, on which I discover for you the list of 152 masterpieces of cinema according to the critics firm Mediafilm. To explore Mediafilm, go check out their website even though it's in French. I have put the link in the description. I have also put a link to the same list on my movie account, on which the titles are in English. If you haven't seen the other videos of this series, you can always check them out on the channel's page. Today we take a trip in the cold for our first non-fiction film. Directed in 1922 by Robert Flaherty, here is Nanook of the North. The film takes place in northern Quebec in Canada. Our hero is introduced, Nanook, a hunter from a small Inuk tribe, with his family. We are shown the fabrication of a kayak, followed by its transportation to the water. Nanook arrives at the trading post of a white man, where he brings a lot of furs. The white man makes a demonstration of his gramophone under Nanook's impressed ear. Nanook struggles with his kayak through the ice jam. He then decides to walk in search for a good fishing spot. We see his fishing techniques, a long wait, and finally the result of his patience. Plenty of fish for the moment, Nanook gets his stuff and returns home in his kayak. And why not give a friend a lift home? When a group of walruses is spotted, Nanook joins his friends, looking forward to a good hunt. Nanook approaches very slowly, but the prey eventually see him. After a group effort, the hunt provides enough food for the time being. It is now time to distribute their reward. Winter arrives, the intense cold and heavy snow are back. Walking on the snowy mountains is extremely difficult. On their path, a white fox is spotted. Once again, Nanook demonstrates his hunting skills. After a brief assessment of the soil, it seems to be perfect to build an igloo. We can admire the ingenious construction by the adults, while the children play or sleep. Finally, Nanook adds a window to his new home with a perfectly cut piece of ice, which is then cleaned by Nila. Archery training is for the child as much fun as it is necessary, but his fingers must be warmed up regularly. In the morning, everyone dresses up preparing for another busy day, then are served raw seal meat for breakfast. In order to slide well, Nanook must apply a bit of ice under his sleigh. A dispute broke out between two of the dogs. Nanook must break them off. A small hole on the surface of the frozen water is a sign that a seal must return to breathe at some point. The fight is hard, but once the reinforcements arrive, the prey is finally caught. In these freezing temperatures, the flesh of the seal is very appreciated of humans as much as dogs. The icy wind becomes too violent, and the family is too far away from home. They must take refuge in an abandoned igloo. They have shelter while the cold reigns outside. Already in 1896, the line between fiction and documentary, a term that will arrive several years after Nanook, is quite blurry. The famous report on the coronation of the Tsar Nicholas II is in fact not the coronation of the Tsar. During the real event, there has been some shoving, then a chaotic stampede, resulting in several dead bodies. The cameras captured everything, and the authorities decided to destroy the film. The coronation has therefore been reenacted and filmed a second time. The film tells of a real event, almost, but which is not the truth. For the quarter of a century that follows, the term non-fiction applied to this kind of film is still problematic. During this period, non-fiction films are often filmed events or travelogues, without a narrative, nor any kind of story. In addition, the films were considerably missing critical and nuanced points of view about their topic. It is here that Nanook just screws up everything, and that for the century that will follow its release. And that is precisely the reason why I love documentary cinema. Nanook could appear at first glance to be a fairly simple non-fiction film, real life captured on the spot. Yet it is by focusing on the details of its production that questions emerge. In Nanook, we are faced with some accounts of mise en scène. The shots to be filmed are precisely chosen. The general indications for each scene is decided beforehand with the actors' characters. They then let those scenes develop naturally. Flaherty doesn't provide any symbolic dimension to its editing. He reduces to a minimum any semantics from the cuts, reducing the whole thing to an assembly that betrays as little as possible the reality of the shown images. But he allows some use of the magic of editing to create his story, for example, the arrival of the family in the kayak. No, really, I refuse to believe that the whole family is hidden in the kayak. He films Nanook while he builds his igloo, but for the interior, he fakes the set so that it is larger than a real igloo. Part of the wall is also open to allow the necessary lighting. He assembles every scene in a rhythmic and interesting order. Even Nanook is made up. His lifestyle is not the one presented on the screen. The influence of the West on the life of the Inuits is completely disregarded. In reality, Nanook and his family do not live in an igloo, and do not hunt with a harpoon. It is pure invention. And Nanook is not even Nanook. His real name is Alakaryalak. Nanook is the character he created with Flaherty. And Nanook's wife, Nila, well, she is simply not his wife. She is Flaherty's wife. Finally, we are amused with the naivety of the Inuks toward technology, when they are in fact the same Inuks who have repaired Flaherty's camera when it was broken, and who have also developed the film in the end. So what makes the film a reproduction of reality? In fact, Flaherty spent 2 years among a tribe from the Ungava Peninsula in order to locate the key moments of their daily lives, and the details of their traditional lives. He made an in-depth research during those years before shooting even began. When the cameras began to roll, the butt of the scene had already been placed with the participation and complicity of the characters concerned. The film tries to inform us about something true. This life exists somewhere, but not here. It is lived by someone, but not by Nanook. This real life is not filmed, but Flaherty tries to make it emanate thanks to his method. He completely destroys the limit between a fiction and a non-fiction film. He shows us reality by the means and techniques of fiction. Similar to the first operators of the Lumière brothers, who traveled everywhere in the world to bring back images, Flaherty allows us to be a witness of the traditional way of life of a remote population which is virtually inaccessible, but he explores these lives while excluding any exotic elements. He presents us a living portrait without the set of mind of a colonizer, with the greatest respect for his subject, so the audience feels close to the characters. We witness a human portrait filmed with an active and participating camera. The film is designed with the full involvement of its very subject. Ethnographer and documentary filmmaker Jean Rouche acknowledges the legacy inherited from Flaherty. For him, knowledge was not the only consequences of studies and surveys, but mainly the result of a patient and familiar contact with the men in the context of their lives. For me, Nanook is the evidence that reality cannot be shown as it is. Maybe in a way, the real can only be told. That's all for today. As always, thank you for watching. If you have any suggestions or comments, do not hesitate to write them in the section below. Please give the video a like and also be sure to click the subscribe button to be notified each time I upload a new one. You can also follow the Facebook page, the link is in the description. I will return soon for the 7th title on the list of masterpieces according to Mediafilm. The links to the lists are also in the description. Subscribe, like and share. I'm René for FILMSTRIP. Next time we go back to Germany. Directed by Friedrich Wilhelm Murnau, we shall discover Nosferatu.